welcome to my channel. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, put the bell button on for more notifications to see what, who, me, moi, this chick right here. Don't forget to share this video with your neighbor, with your pastor, with your congressman, okay, with everybody you know in the family chat, okay. Thank you for coming to my channel where I do commentary, I do music, I do comedy, I do it all. Why? Because it's my damn channel. Now, I was sitting here sipping on some Tito's, sipping on some, not no scissor. Now, I was sipping on Tito's with orange juice. Now, minding my business, and I stumbled on a Facebook post of the new episode of Love, Marriage, and Hunts Point. You know, I like to call it Hunts Point, even though it's Huntsville, baby, because it's giving gutter. If you from New York City, then you know exactly what I'm talking about, baby, okay? So I decided to really get on here and really talk about this newest episode of how Mel read Kimmy to filth in a nice, nasty way. And I'm really trying to gather. I know I told you I wasn't really going to be reviewing this show because this show is just really not good. It's just not good for me anymore. I just feel like nobody's being real. I also feel like a lot of people on that show are not really showing their true authentic selves. Well, they're trying not to show their true authentic self, but it is slipping. Their true authentic self is slipping through the cracks, okay? I feel like instead of showing their reality, because mind you, it is reality TV, they rather point their issues at Mel and Martell, and baby, it's getting stale, it's getting tired, it's getting old. And I really don't understand why anytime they need a storyline, they got to point to Mel or Martell. And it's just like, we be looking at the legal documents, okay? We be looking at stuff that be going on outside of the show. You guys have a story to tell. You just refuse to tell it because you want to look a certain way. And it's just that you would have more fans. Your businesses outside of the show would do better if you really got real and really became relatable and just didn't think that all you had to do season after season after season is ride Mel's back. Let me get to the point though, right? Because that's the reason why y'all here. Now let's talk about this sit down. I guess Tisha and Mel and Kimmy. Now this is a new episode that is coming out. I don't know when I'm posting this. I'll probably post it today, which is Friday or Saturday. So it's either going to come out tomorrow or it's going to come out today, this new episode. So I know a few days ago on Martell's live, Kimmy had stated in the background that it was just kind of corny, the whole name changing thing. And we know that this newest episode, they touched on how Kimmy wasn't invited. So all in all, I kind of sensed that she was salty that she wasn't invited when she's supposed to be allegedly Mel's friend. But I guess it might have gotten to her in some kind of way, or whatever the case may be. She just felt like the name change was a little bit corny. So this is my thing. If you feel like what I'm doing is corny, why the hell would I invite you to my shindig? Why would I invite you to my bar mitzvah? Like, why would I invite you to these things if you think these things are uncool and you think these things are corny and you can't celebrate me during this time where I need people to rally behind me and celebrate me? So mind you, I'm not a melometer, melancholy, or melatonin. I'm not. I love Mel down. I love her work ethic. I love how she was able to rise like a phoenix. I just love everything about her. But I have to be realistic. So let's take a look at this sit down that Tisha and Kimmy and Mel had that got the girls dragging Kimmy by her coochie hair. Got the girls dragging Miss Kimmy down, girl, okay? And then we're going to get into some of the comments of people dragging Kimmy, baby, all the way back from the metasphere. A metaverse all the way down to Huntsville, Hunts Point, baby. They've been dragging this sis for it has to be at least 24 hours. But anyway, let's get into the video of how this all started.
I moved my last name to my middle name.
Okay.
a lot of it was just in my head for having children. I never really wanted to be that in that stereotype where your kids go to school and they're like, what's your last name? And they're like, Grant. What's your mama last name? Scott. As African Americans, I think a lot of times we're thrown into a stereotypical cycle of, I'm going to assume that your kids don't have your mama's last name. And I think it's tragic. That just mattered. Like, to me.
You mean being baby mamas and not having the last name, having not been married? You and Jalen technically don't have the same last name anymore.
So I would like to start off saying, number one, my mama always told me, you ain't the first single mother and you ain't going to be the last. Now, there's a lot of stereotypes that a lot of the people on the show, not even including Mel, there's a lot of stereotypes that y'all perpetuate. Okay, there's a lot of stereotypes on there that we could talk about. Okay, it's a all black cast and all black show, and it's a lot of stereotypes we've been seeing on that show for how many seasons now? Let's really wake it up. Okay, so if we want to talk about stereotypes, Kimmy, you're gonna have to talk about yours. Now I'm gonna get to all the stereotypes she perpetuates and other people on the show, right? So my mom always told me, you're not the first single mother and you won't be the last, right? I was a single mother. I was in a relationship. So I knew this man for years. We've known each other since we was 15 years old. We ended up settling down eventually having a child. My child has his last name. We never married. Things didn't work out. I now met my husband. My husband, now mind you, that would mean that my child does not have the same last name as me, because he signed the birth certificate. Now, side note, I feel like this. If the father isn't present or he plans on being a deadbeat MIA, I have no problems with the mother saying, you know what, I'm going to just give my son my name. I'm carrying him. I know you're not going to be present. I'm taking this on by myself. Let me just give him my name. It makes things a lot easier. So with that, I see why Kimmy gave Jalen her last name. But I'm going to touch on that too. So my husband now comes in my life when my daughter's about 2 years old. Me and him then get married. I hyphen my name. So there's moments where I use my maiden name. There's moments where I use my married name. There's moments where I use both. We have a child. So in the house, my youngest and my husband have the same name. And then my oldest does not have the same name. Have we ran into situations where it was hard to convey this to her? It was hard to tell her this. We had even considered adoption in a way, name changing in a way. Now she completely understands and she's okay with it, to the point where my husband is absolutely okay with her using his name when she feels like it or when she wants to, and that's completely okay with him. So I say that to say this. There are so many different reasons. Like Kimmy really pissing me off. She really, really pissing me off, right? There are so many different reasons why people will not have the same name in the household. Let's not be dense here. Parents pass away, right? Mama or daddy meets a new, or mama meets a new man. Okay, and they get married. That's a name change, right? Daddy say, I don't want nothing to do with the kids. You and your son, like Kimmy's situation, have the same last name. You turn around and you get married. Or you take on a family member. You take them in. You adopt them. But they still have a different last name. Their parents. They have their parents' last name and your last name is different. There's so many different reasons I can think of why people in the household have a different last name. And for Mel's situation, she was married and got divorced. When you get divorced, why the fuck would you hold on to your ex's last name? Especially a bald-headed ex that put you through that much stuff, had an outside baby and all of that. You really think her kids aren't informed about the fact that her and their father got a divorce? You really think this woman really did not sit down and have a conversation with her kids about the name change? And let me just tell you something. It might be an issue here and there in school, but as long as you and your household have an understanding, fuck what everybody else got to say outside the house. And I ain't trying to really be aggressive right now, but Kimmy is really giving me male identified vibes. She's really giving me vibes like I got married and I think I'm better, or on some sort of pedestal because I did everything in the Mammy Law book to get married. And let me tell you something, I had loved Kimmy down. I really did. But I'm realizing more and more we really are starting to see Kimmy's true colors. On her and Tisha are adjacent. They are one in the same. Hence the brothers ended up marrying them. So I feel like now that Mel isn't married, it's kind of like, it's kind of like Kimmy thinks she's like this expert on marriage. And baby, you are the roll over queen and suffer through it queen. Unfortunately, sadly, your husband is looking at you as like a pocket pussy. He's looking at you as like a sex toy and not like a wife. Like, you know what I mean? Someone that went through something so traumatic such as cancer. And I'm glad that she's now healthy, on the road to recovery and a better life. But you would think she would sit back and really evaluate herself and really know how to just shut the hell up. Because you're trying to throw shade, but baby, I love the fact that Mel said, you throwing shade? Baby, Mel was listening attentively and she moved swiftly and professionally and said, baby, you want shade me? I'm throwing the whole palm tree right back at you. Because a lot of times, women that are single mothers where the father chose to not be present, he cannot sign the birth certificate if he is not present to do so. If he doesn't care to do so, he could be a married man off with his family and do not decide to sign the birth certificate. That baby legally takes on your name. So Kimmy, my question to you is, were you ever married before Maurice? Let's talk about it. Let's kick it why Jalen doesn't have his father's last name, or why he didn't see fit to marry you so that you guys could live in a household together and all have the same last name. That's what's really baffling me. It's really baffling me. And you gave him your last name because the father wasn't there. The father was not there to sign a birth certificate. Let's just call it a thing. Most likely he was not there. That in itself, Kimmy, Grant, Scott, whatever your name is, ma'am, that in itself is a stereotype. Your man being a sex deviant and always wanting sex, that in itself is a stereotype. You having Jalen out of wedlock, that in itself is a stereotype. So we can think of so many stereotypes. We could think of so many stereotypes that y'all have displayed on this show. And it's just like, I agree with Mel. Now that you have gotten married, Jalen no longer has your last name. Jalen is not a Scott. You know what I mean? Jalen is not a Scott. Jalen doesn't have that new last name. I agree with Mel. But it's just like, okay, Kaya now gets married to she now has a husband. She divorced Scott. She's no longer going by Scott. She obviously is going by a new name. Her and Monster obviously no longer have the same last name, which is Scott. Monster does, right? So are you having these, so you feel that way about Kaya? So are you sitting down and having these conversations with Jalen at Monster, because they don't have the same last name? You have the same dynamic that you're frowning upon is the same dynamic that you're living. And I'm just trying to figure out, so many people turn around and they shun and they shame and they point the finger at somebody. But guess what, my mom? When you log off this internet, when you leave them cameras, you walk away from them damn cameras, you live in the same lifestyle you condemning somebody else for. And I always felt like this. At any moment, even if you're not living the same lifestyle, at any moment you could turn around and live the same lifestyle at any point in your life that you condemning somebody else for. Let's wake it up. And let's just keep it all the way real. Let's just keep it all the way true. You was dating this man for 7 years. No ring in sight. No real commitment in sight. And he finally married you After 7 years, you finally get a ring. And what does that make you better? That makes you an expert. I'm just trying to figure out what time Kimmy be on. And it's just like this scene right here. Let's talk about this scene real quick.
How y'all been?
Good. Yeah, I mean, right now, she's like the happiest she's been in a long time. You know what I'm talking about?
Well, that's good.
So that's effort that I'm putting in, that she's putting
Why
into
she's
it.
the happiest, seems like she's the unhappiest.
She's a side chick. Don't even say her name.
I'm not going to call her a side chick. And we don't have to...
The fact that she would defend a side chick, like, yes, your wife is happy, but what about the side piece? And she talking about, I would never call her a side chick. Why would you want the side chick to be happy? So that's letting me believe, side-eyeing you, and the fact that you went so hard at Kaiwa to try to make her want to admit to the world that you were never a side chick. Then you turn around in this clip and you're defending side chicks. This is my thing. I just feel like I'm starting to think, Kimmy, you was a side chick. I'm really starting to think that, because there's just no way in hell you're moving the way you move if you wasn't. At some point in time, you were, and you were comfortable in doing so. And now that you got the ring and you the main, for some reason you're so male identified that you would do anything for a ring. You will do anything to keep a man. You will do anything to keep your position, even if it's rolling over and suffering. Oh, it's a shame and a scandal. But let's get into some of the things that people had to say about her online. Baby, these people were reading her down, as they should, because I just feel like it was no need for this. It was no need for this. And to say that, say the whole name difference thing is a stereotype, and that was your standard. Why is your man embarrassing you a no-no for you? Why is that not your standard? Your man, your husband not being supportive during a crisis that you're going to, a life-altering crisis for you and your family, and him being selfish on national television. Why is that not a no-no for you? Like, why is that not a standard? I need you to bring it down, Kimmy. I need you to bring it down a notch, because, baby, the call is coming from inside the house. Pick it up and wake it the fuck up. Okay, anyway, like, share, subscribe, hit the bell button on for more notifications. See what, who, me, moi, this chick right here. Thank you for watching. Bye.
Denver's World Hair Care line, an all-natural hair and skincare line. We have amazing apple-cider tea tree root rinse for dandruff, all natural with all natural ingredients, and most importantly, affordable for you, your spouse, and even the kids. We also have the amazing papaya body oil, and baby, it smells amazing. Don't forget to head over to denverworldhaircare.com. Use promo code WINNING for 20% off to see all the amazing goodies.